Hello, so welcome to the Transformers Breakdown episode 16 in season 2, Megatron's Masterplan part 2. So let's, basically in this particular episode, it's continuation. The Autobots were sent in a ship. They were going to get sent into the sun, and they didn't. They did not get sent into the sun. They got saved almost, and then Cosmos basically had them in a force field. He saved them, but then Teletran 1 still had control. I think Thrust went and he shot Teletran 1, destroying Teletran 1, therefore relieving Cosmos of the control, so Cosmos was able to take the Autobots back to Earth. Now Cosmos is a little spaceship. So here we go. So in this particular episode, you got Schonberger was tricked, in the previous episode by the Decepticons, into basically saying that the Autobots, they're evil. It starts off with a Decepticon parade. Now I'm thinking to myself, humans are pretty fickle. They are pretty fickle. This little boy's dressed up as some kind of like Decepticon, and everybody's like, Decepticons are great, oh my gosh, It's like, really? And they had Decepticon Day. So I thought that was really funny. And then we go back to Spike, and Spike, I believe, is in a completely different studio. And then my question is, they're having this parade. Last we left Spike, Ravage was coming in. He was getting the tape, right? And then everything stopped. And basically, but they've had a parade. The sun has gone up, has gone down. The Autobots have their spaceship. They've traveled to the sun. And what happened? Did the Ravage has the ability to freeze time or something like that? I was a little confused. And then as Spike is watching the video monitor, and Starscream, which I mentioned in the previous episode, is like dressed up as Optimus Prime, which makes no sense because in the other episode, Starscream was fighting up the fake Optimus, so there's like a lot of like weird stuff going on here. But when Starscream takes off his head, there's no continuations, just thrown out the door because he's standing by buildings, and weren't they like, like funneling stuff in an oil rig or something? I don't know. There's just some crazy. If you watch the episode and you pay attention, it just made the continuation is thrown out the door in this one, which makes it extremely funny. And then Soundwave is cool with the kids because he's hanging out at the gymnasium and he's rocking out. And then Laserbeak is dancing and Ravage is being petted by a girl, and it's just hilarious. It's a cute. And then this guy goes, Laserbeak want a cracker? And Laserbeak's like, oh no, yeah, I'm about to like kill you. Laserbeak's pretty fierce, actually. So then we talk about Cosmos, he's basically saving the Autobots, and he's like, and then my question is Cosmos Mexican? Because I think they're trying to do a Mexican accent, or he has the accent of Igor. So if you've noticed, a lot of the Autobots have accidents. Not accidents. They don't have accidents. They have accents. So I thought that was really hilarious that that they all have different accents, even though they come from a completely different planet. But the Decepticons do not. So I thought that was really interesting. And did the Autobots die because the spaceship blew up? But no, later we found out that they did not, because Cosmos Trailblazer was using his force field, and then Cosmos was carrying them, so they were safe. And then later Megatron does a press conference, and he tells them, hey, listen, no, I am really evil, and I'm going to suck this planet dry. And then people are like, oh, we've been had. And then one lady goes, I don't believe it. And I'm thinking to myself, really? 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 You don't believe it? How many seasons does it take for you to realize that the Transformers are evil? Megatron takes over the city. He sends planes to start shooting up stuff. Burger changes sides. He starts trying to save Spike from Ravage and whatnot. Megatron enslaves everyone. Cosmos is headed for the sun, but is saved by Trailblazer. I talked about that before. Megatron and Chip, the guy in the wheelchair, he like runs away, and then Megatron's like, forget him. He's nothing. He's not going to cause any harm. But didn't Chip, the first time he was introduced, didn't he foil your plans? And didn't you make a specific point of to say that this young man foiled your plans? So I think you should be careful with this guy. Chip goes to Teletran 1. He's trying to find out what happened to the Autobots, and then Thrust finds him, and he shoots Teletran 1, and Cosmos was being controlled by Teletran 1 being directed to the sun, but now Teletran 1 is dead, which makes no sense because Teletran 1 comes back in this next episode, but they basically, he doesn't have control anymore, and so Thrust helps the Autobots get saved again, and in the first episode, if you remember, Starscream revived the Autobots, so there's this whole theme about the planes who are resembling angels, negative angels, resaving the Autobots, so there's something going on there. And then Starscream says, "Oh yeah, so these planes show up and they're gonna start attacking, and like this military plane start attacking Megatron." And then Starscream says, "I anticipated what you were gonna say, Megatron," and he flies off. Now I'm thinking to myself, Starscream, do you know the meaning of the word anticipated? Because anticipated means that you knew what was going to happen, so you would already be there, but you weren't, so I think you need some English classes. And the Autobots are alive! Woohoo! And then they show up, and then they start fighting Megatron, and they beat Megatron. And then I'm thinking throughout the entire episode, what about the Dinobots? And what about Skyfire? So I guess there is no freedom in the planet, because remember, they said as long as there's freedom in the planet, that as long as Skyfire is alive, then there will be freedom, but there is no freedom because Skyfire is not there. Something about that. And then the burger guy, who was like a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy, who wanted power, I don't know. And then people call Spike's dad, Gearwig, I forget his name is. He goes, "You are a dog lunch." And I'm like, really? A dog lunch? That's your worst, like, name-calling thing? Okay. So that's it. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you not enjoy this episode? And more episodes are coming up. I will do the entire series for you, and I will break it down. Watch them on Netflix, because that's where you can find the glitches. On YouTube is where you cannot. So, Netflix. It's good stuff.